Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The show starts in 3, 2, 1, go.
Good morning, CaneSport. It's January 20th, 2022. I'm Gary Ferman, the publisher of CaneSport.com, joined as always by our managing editor, Matt Shodell, as we discuss the news of the day. And Matt, yesterday was kind of mellow, quite frankly. Rumors continuing to go around. It started out that Jason Candle was going to be the new offensive coordinator. Then the next rumor was Kendall Briles was going to be the next offensive coordinator. And it turned out, as we said, that neither one of them was going to be hired at that point as the new offensive coordinator. And what you're seeing going on is agents maneuvering to get their clients better deals and things like that. There was really no reason that either one of those guys had a so-called pull out of the Miami offensive coordinator search. I mean, Mario Cristobal's talked to a whole litany of people. I mean, it was well known that Briles in particular had been spoken to, but this has been going on for about a month at least. So he didn't really need to pull out, but it was an opportunity to get his name out there. His agent is super agent Jimmy Sexton, who never wastes one of those opportunities, Matt. And so they did what they had to do. But in the meantime, we're still in the same spot with Mario Cristobal talking to people and sort of continuing to survey the landscape and see if he could find a slam dunk hire for that spot. And I've been saying from the beginning, not a lot of slam dunk hires out there in the coaching world right now. And I personally think it's a good thing that Mario is exercising patience because there's no reason to rush. I don't think there's any one recruit that's hanging on this decision. It's not like there's a quarterback sitting out there that they're trying to recruit that's going to be swayed by who's calling the plays. The offensive class is pretty well set. So I don't think there's any reason to rush really on these coordinator hires on either side of the ball.
Funny you say that because I could have sworn just a few days ago you laughed at me when I said there's no rush. The only deadline is spring ball. And you start laughing and you said, well, they probably want to have it done before the big
I said he'd have it done before spring ball. Obviously well in advance of spring ball to be ready. But when I said that, you laughed. There's no rush. This is not a big deal. I know you said this is a big recruiting weekend. It is, but like I said when we talked about this before, these are 2023 to 2025 2023 kids, correct?
Plenty of time left. Doesn't matter if T-Rob, if he does wind up leaving, they can overcome any of this stuff. This is a chance for them to get around the program, see the new culture, meet Mario Cristobal, the head coach, find out the plan for the program, meet the strength coach, and these guys will wow you. I mean, this is a staff with so much energy. Like Gary and I were just talking yesterday about this. We were saying it's going to be so cool on Saturday to see it be different because whenever we went to these events with He Who Can't Be Named, it was just very low key and mellow and there was no energy, which is one way to do recruiting, I guess. But I think these guys are going to be jumping up and down and meeting cars as they pull in and chest bumping recruits. That's what I picture in my mind. I don't know if it'll really be like that. But I picture this in my mind and I think it's exciting. And I will also add this, when I say the word a lot, by the way, guys, it's because I'm trying to think. And I'm not used to just having silence because I'm a talker. That's what reporters are. So I know some of you get crazy when we say the word a lot, but it's just to fill these quiet moments of serenity. So anyway, Gary, just so everyone knows, there are names that have been out there that are coming to light whenever. There's been various times where Gary literally has said to me, here's some names. Here's some names that are being looked at. We can't report any of this yet because these are sensitive issues. And Gary,
coordinators are very sensitive.
Several names. And then these names come out eventually, and it looks like someone else, they found out about whatever. But in truth, Gary just doesn't want to blow up some deals that could be happening, cause any problems for anybody. So when you say let Mario Cristobal
And I'll add one other thing, Matt. Most of these guys don't get the jobs.
Correct.
So, like,
right. Again, it's a case of trust the process. Don't believe the noise. Mario Cristobal has previously, with some of his hires, taken a long time and had numerous people who maybe thought they were getting the offer that wound up not getting the offer. You don't know with Mario Cristobal. This is not your standard coach who just goes to the first guy that he thinks he can get that'll be good, and that's it. He wants to hit a home run with every coach he hires, which is great, and that's why I have no problem taking time. And people think I'm so negative. No, it's not being negative. I want it to be done the right way, where Miami's winning national championships, not where Miami's winning the Coastal every year. Listen, I know fans, that's the first step. You want to win the Coastal, and I think that was the first goal that he who can't be named said every year, win the Coastal. I don't care about the Coastal, I got to say, because if you're worried about the Coastal and that's all you're pushing for, and that's your main objective, win the Coastal and hopefully get somewhere from there, that's not for me, man. And that's why when people are freaking out over me saying the numbers and why am I being so negative, I'm not being negative. I'm just saying this is the situation that Mario, as a great coach, has to deal with. There was an extra year from COVID. He will have to cut 28 players in the next 2 years that will be eligible to return to fit 2 classes of 25. That's just
Stop counting. You do this every damn day.
That's not me being negative. People still don't
freaking everybody out.
They think it's my fault. It's not me being negative. Mario Cristobal has to work.
You don't know that the number's 28.
It is 28, Gary. I literally sent you the file. To take 25 recruits the next 2 years, you have to cut 28 off the current roster as it stands at 85. It's a fact. What do you mean? Did you read the story I sent you yet?
Yeah, but that number is changing all the time.
What do you mean changing? What does that mean? How's it changing?
Guys transfer. Guys go to the portal.
Correct.
Guys don't make it academically. It's changing all the time.
28 players have to go to the portal or transfer. That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. I don't know if I'm being misconstrued somehow. 28 players on the current roster have to transfer, leave, do whatever, go to the NFL. I don't care. But they need to be removed from this roster to fit 25 and 25, not including any other transfers coming in for free, nothing else. That's a fact.
What if they fit 20 and 20?
20 and 20, then you get 10 less. You have to cut 18 or get 18 to leave, whatever. 18 leave on their own. I don't care.
I think you can have 10 to 15 leave this year.
Great.
So it's not. It's not the crisis that you're making it out to be.
It's not a crisis. This is why you're misunderstanding too. It's not a crisis. This is the roster management Mario Cristobal is facing. I'm trying to put all the fans in Mario's shoes. This is what he has to wade his way through. Like someone posted on the message board yesterday, Matt knows more about roster management than Mario. Ha, ha, ha. Make him the recruiting director. Ha, ha, ha. No, that's not what this is about. This is letting you guys know what Mario is facing, putting you in Mario's shoes. He knows these numbers. He knows this is what he has to do. He knows he's going to have to cut 28 kids to get his 25 and 25 in these next 2 recruiting classes, which I think he has to do. And there will be some hard choices, which is why
I'll make a bet. I'll make a bet with you right now. Yeah. I bet you he's paying very little attention to that right now.
I disagree. I think he knows wholeheartedly exactly where the numbers are.
I think right now they are on a blitz here for the next couple of weeks, put the best team together for 2022 that they can, and then they'll worry about numbers for 23 and 24.
Well, I hope that's not the case, because that's called flying by the seat of your pants. That's not what Mario Cristobal does.
No, it's called not being on a 3-year, 4-year plan.
No, first thing you do when you take a head coaching job is you map out how your positions look, how many kids are in this class, that position, what you need to recruit for this year in 2022. And to do that, you have to know who you got to get rid of and who you got coming in, period. That's the first thing you do.
Okay, I assure you that's been done, the mapping out of position.
The same thing is what I'm saying, because that's just numbers.
Going forward 2-3 years, no, I don't think they're worrying about that yet.
It's the same thing. When you try to balance your classes, which is the first thing these coaches do when they look at the roster, it's the same thing. 4 running backs in your sophomore class, you're going to have to probably get rid of 1 or 2 of them. They're going to leave anyway. You have no juniors or senior running backs. You need another running back who has some experience, whatever. This is what Mario's facing. I guarantee you, he knows that he's at 85. He's going to be over 85 come February 2nd, I guess it is. He knows he's going to be over 85. I'm sure he has a plan for these. Are probably the 8 kids in spring ball. We got to keep a close eye on, see if any of them actually progress to where they can. Otherwise, we got to tell them, you need to move on, son. And then beyond that, I'm sure he is well aware there's going to be 65 freshmen and sophomores on this roster this year. 65. And you only allowed 85. And that's freshmen and sophomores. That's a fact that, of course, he knows that. How could he not know that, Gary? I mean, of course he knows that.
I think I think he obviously has a generic plan in place for right now.
I agree.
But I don't think he's trying to project what the number is going to be a year from now. I think he'll worry about that.
I think he knows he's taking 25 recruits. I think he knows he's taking 25 recruits as allowed or more, counting backwards if he can get them.
They may not take 25 this year, Matt. They may not get there.
I can't imagine they won't. How can they not?
Well, because look where they are now. Where are they right now? At 12, I believe?
The first year of any coach that's come into Miami, not that ratings matter, but that's when they've had their highest rated class.
They're 12 right now.
Not correct. Even he who can't be named, sorry. Every coach, the first year they have a full cycle, that's when all the kids come because they know you're going to be there.
But there's signing day in what, 2 weeks?
I'm talking about 2023 class, not 2022.
Well, I'm not talking about I'm talking about 2022.
They're all taking 25 in 2022,
no,
Gary.
They're not. That's my point.
Of course not. But that's why they can count backwards.
15, 16, 17, whatever that number ends up being will obviously help determine what happens in 2023. So why worry about it right now? Why try to say right now we're going to take 20 in 2023 or 21 or 22 or 23? You don't know any of that yet. Okay, this is why about it right now.
This is why you want to take as many as you can in 2023. It's going to be the backbone of what I think will be a national championship team. The reason being, the first year you have that shot, everyone who's still on the team, that's a different coach's guys. You can make the argument, you're my guy. I want you. These were leftovers, whatever. It's inherent in that recruiting pitch. On top of that, the recruit knows these coaches are leaving programs like crazy. My guy just got here. He's a great coach. He's got a great staff. They're going to be here probably for the next 3 or 4 years because that's how this rolls. You give a guy 3 or 4 years to at least see if he can get the job done, which hopefully Mario does. This is the year you stack that
Mario's got a 10-year contract.
Every first year of a new coach at Miami, they've killed it in the rankings and recruiting. Mario will do no different. He will get 5 stars. He will get 4 stars. He will stack talent. Why would you take less than what you're allowed?
Well, they probably won't. But what I'm saying is I don't think they're worried about the numbers right now is what I'm saying. I agree. I happen to agree with you. I think they will find a way to take 25 next year. It's an amazing recruiting year. There's a lot of prospects. But I don't think they're sitting here today worrying about that. I think today
you don't worry about it. No,
what can they do right this minute to make 2022 the best season they can make it? And once February 2nd gets here, then the attention will turn to 2023 and developing a plan for 2023.
Yeah.
All right. So anyway,
hold on, because we're not done with this. Because here's what I think people are getting hung up on when they say everything's so negative. The other thing Mario Cristobal has to recognize, which he does recognize, when you bring in a transfer who's not a junior or senior, I said this yesterday and people freaked out like I was being negative. This is just letting fans understand what the numbers say. That's just a fact. It is what it is. When you bring in a transfer who's not a junior or senior, you can cut him after a year or two. You could say it's just not working out. You're not very good, but that kid's screwed because he can't transfer again without sitting out a year. And with the portal the way it is, there's going to be a million kids at his position who can play right away. No one's going to take a kid who has to sit out a year anymore in this day and age. So unless you want to screw up a kid's entire rest of his college career, you almost can't cut him at that point. And if you miss on these, I think he's taken 2 that are sophomores transfers so far, and I don't know if he'll take more, but you're sort of stuck with them is my point. So when you got to cut that many kids, I'm just literally giving you numbers. Mario has a plan. I don't believe Gary. I think he has an exact plan. He knows he wants to take 25, probably even more than that recruits because he can count backwards. Because like you said, Gary, he's not taking 25 this year. Early enrollees can count backwards next year. He can take 32 recruits plus 7 free transfers.
If they have room, you're right. Exactly.
He can rewrite the entire roster. I'm just giving you guys the information, and people are like attacking me like I'm saying something negative. It's just pure facts and information.
They're attacking you.
No, people like on the YouTube channel, they're like, why is Matt?
You come on the show again and you're wearing a goddamn alligator. Like, why wouldn't they attack you?
It's not an alligator.
You're wearing a alligator shirt.
This is how
you got an alligator on it. Like,
how can you even inform anybody about anything when you can't tell the difference between an alligator and a crocodile, Gary? No one's going to trust you if you can't tell the difference between a freaking alligator and a crocodile. One has a snout and one has a snout. Oh, wrong side. One is my camera's backwards. One has a pointy snout and one has a flat snout. Hello.
I don't think It doesn't matter. You're
You
wearing
probably eat blue crabs.
a damn reptile.
You can't eat blue crabs at those stone crabs, not stone crabs. You don't know the difference.
Well, now you're on stone crabs. All right, listen. Let's reel this back to the point, which is.
And I'll get the
crocodile
out of your picture. Okay.
How about this? There's going to be a lot of damn players coming
out of your picture now.
How about this?
Here, you know what? This is what you're going to look at from now on, Gary. I'm going to zoom in on that. That's all you're going to look at from now on.
No, that's going to become a John Ruiz picture.
That's all you get. That's all you get from now on.
That's going to be John Ruiz, as soon as I get around to framing a John Ruiz picture for you. But listen, I think we agree there's going to be a lot of players coming in the program in the next few years. And the numbers will work themselves out. They got to go through. The first thing they got to do is they got to go through off-season workouts, which have started now with Coach Feld, and they got to get through spring practice with a new staff, by the way. So once they get through those two things, then the new staff can sit down and do a real assessment on where the roster is and what the needs are going to be moving forward. And then they will carve out a plan for 2023 and worry about what the numbers are, probably when they get to August and they see where the attrition has been, because there will be attrition, I can assure you. So I think, we'll just have to, just keep it at a lot of new players coming in the program. It's an exciting time. You've got an elite prospect day on campus on Saturday. We'll have tons of coverage of that. And a lot of those guys that are going to be there on Saturday are going to end up being Miami Hurricanes.
Hey, what's your over-under on Saturday commitments, Gary? Even without coordinators potentially, even without a few position coaches, what do you think?
Oh boy, I don't know, 3 maybe.
Oh, I'll take the over on that.
Yeah, you think there'll be more than 3 commitments on Saturday?
Wouldn't surprise me. But these early commitments, you
got to remember, they're just starting to get to know these kids.
But they're not even real commitments, honestly. But kids get carried
away.
The
relationships aren't really in place yet.
No, correct. But I'm basing on just kids being so in love with the program. They are going to hand out a bunch of offers. I think there'll be double-digit offers being handed out at this weekend. And it depends who they actually want. For instance, if they want the Washington Twins on Saturday, those 2 kids will commit. I mean, they're not going to wait. So it just depends who they decide they actually want, who they don't want. But it wouldn't surprise me if they do get some younger commits this weekend at all, which I think would be a great sign. I don't care about the relationships. It's just when kids go on campus, they know they feel at home. They feel that energy. That's what you want to see. You don't want to have no commitments this weekend. You want to have that energy be translated into at least kids saying, hey, this is where I want to be, even though it doesn't mean much in this day and age. At least there's some excitement around the program. There's some excitement among the fan base when you get commitments. I think it would be great. So hopefully that's the case.
All right. Also on the website today, we have a lot more previews of Saturday's Elite Prospect Day. We have a story on a 2023 DB by the name of Elliot Washington. He's from Venice, Florida. He has an elite offer list. And, Matt, this is a kid that really can go just about anywhere in the country. Miami is one of a whole plethora of schools that are recruiting him. But it's good to see the level of recruits. And I think Elliot Washington is an example of the level of recruiting that's taking place right now and how the bar is being raised. Miami is getting in the mix for the best players in the country.
What's crazy to me, this is a kid who's not that far from Miami. He's in Venice, Florida. It's not that close, but not that far, I guess. So, okay, let me rephrase. It's not down the road, but it's in the state of Florida, right? And he didn't have an offer until January 4th.
And everybody's offering him.
Everybody. Right.
Bama, Georgia, everybody.
Correct. All these major programs, and then all of a sudden Miami comes on. Miami was his 27th offer. He still has 27 offers. This will not be happening with Mario Cristobal and the rest of the staff. It will not be. They will be in the front offering these kids, and they are not going to go away like the previous staffs here have done, where you'll offer a kid that they don't hear from you for 2 months. This is a staff who will offer top kids in the state of Florida early in their recruitment, stay on them throughout, build that relationship throughout, which needed to have been done so many times before, and it's been so frustrating for me as a reporter. You guys don't see it, but obviously I call these kids and talk to these kids all the time for, God, it feels like since the 19th century, since forever. And it's just so frustrating to me when we, like you guys know out there in the, whatever it's called, internet world, we call or at least text every single kid who gets an offer from Miami. That's just what we do. Because you don't know if a kid in some other state gets an offer, if he even has a connection to Miami. He might have a family member who played here back in the day, a cousin, whatever. So you don't know until you talk to them. And so we'd reach out to them all, and we'd do stories on those of them that wanted to do interviews with us. We're really a promotional site when it comes to recruits. We're not out there to do anything except basically tell their story. And that's what we tell them when we first talk to them. So then you check in with them again. We keep him on the list. He spoke to us. Here's what he said. Check in a month later. We'll check in a month later, 2 months later, 3 months later, check in every 4 weeks. And it's just mind-boggling because with the last staff, all those years, I'd say 80%, this is not an exaggeration, I'd say 80% of the kids they offered, and yes, they offered a tremendous amount of kids, but what's the point of offering a kid if you're not going to follow up with them?
Correct.
Unbelievable. 80% of these kids who got offers, verbal offers, when we checked in a month later, I haven't talked to Miami since they offered me. What? We'd say, okay, I'll check in again in a month. It was mind-boggling, and I think that is definitely going to change now. Which, thank God, because I don't want to be wasting all my phone calls. It's like a wasted phone call. Like, why am I calling these kids for no reason? 80% of my phone calls the last 4+ years have been for no reason. So finally, my phone calls are going to have a purpose to them. I'm very excited. Thank you, Mario Cristobal.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why things have gone the way they have, and yes, absolutely, everything is changing. And there's a whole different urgency, a whole different expectation, a whole different mindset. And that's a very good thing. So the bottom line is Elliot Washington has been offered by Miami, and he's being followed up with. And we have a story updating you on all that on the website today. So hopefully you'll enjoy that. Let's see. There's also a story about a tight end out of Minnesota, a 4-star kid by the name of Jackson Howard, who will be here on Saturday. He visited Oregon. That's where he became familiar with Mario Cristobal and has now continued to be recruited by Miami. Believe Coach Fields has been on that case here the last couple weeks, and he's coming to the Elite Prospect Day. We have an update on him. We also have an update on a 2025 kid by the name of Anquan Fagans, who's also coming back this weekend. You'll remember him from being here in the last cycle with his brother Traquan, who actually committed to Miami for a while until Alabama came along and offered him, and he immediately flipped and went with Bama. But apparently his younger brother is maybe a little more interested in Miami than he was, because he's
let's not get carried away.
Oh, he's coming all the way back again?
I know, but he's here for the 7-on-7. He literally said if he gets a Bama offer, it'll be tough to pass up. But he's at 2025. But let me go back a minute, because Jackson Howard, I don't know if those of you that watch this regularly, you poor souls who have the time to do that and don't mind hearing my voice and Gary's voice arguing with each other. The story I told the other day about a recruit who went to visit Oregon and got off the elevator, and all the coaches were standing in front of the elevator doors as they opened, cheering and jumping up and down and being so excited. This was the kid I was referring to as Jackson Howard. So for those of you that remember that story, I couldn't remember who it was at that time that I had just spoken to a kid and we hadn't written the story yet. This is the kid that was the case. So they recruited him to Oregon really well. And now they better listen. If he opens the door at Miami to the elevator and there's nobody there, that's a problem. So Mario Cristobal, you got your work cut out. You better have those coaches standing by the elevator door when Jackson Howard goes up. There is an elevator in the HEC, though you could take the stairs. So better. The nice thing is the elevator and the stairs go to the same place. Just have the coaches standing in that area, whether he takes the stairs or the elevator. You got it covered, Mario. You're good to go.
All right. No NIL news to report today because yesterday Gilbert Frierson spent 6 hours in John Ruiz's studio filming his commercial for Life Wallet.
The poor guy is only getting paid $3,000 an hour. How is he going to make any money doing that?
Yeah, it's great, but I mean, I can't wait to see the commercial. I mean, that'll be interesting. So Gilbert Frierson making his commercial debut very, very soon for Life Wallet. But no other real NIL news to report. But we do have our Why at the U series continuing today with a look at the transfer of Henry Parrish and why really it could be very significant for the Miami Hurricanes. And Matt, we talked a little bit about this in the past. I can't remember whether you agree with me or not. it's a little bit of a blur, quite frankly. But I think and I've seen a lot of debate on this on the message boards, but I really like the Henry Parrish take. I think it's a good move by Mario Cristobal. And I think that it would have been foolish to assume that the running back position is just all set, because it's not all set. Don Chaney hasn't been healthy in 3 years. You're hoping that he could stay healthy. Jalen Knighton is not a workhorse running back. And they're going to find, I believe, that if they use him a little more strategically, he'll be a lot more effective. Jalen Knighton does not need to be pounding the rock up the middle very, very often. And that's where Henry Parrish comes in. He was a little on the smaller side coming out of high school, but now he's more physically developed. He's very tough, and he stood the test up at Ole Miss in the SEC, which is a very physical conference. So I think he's going to help them a lot. It'll give Thad Franklin time to try to develop. I'm not sure where Cody Brown's going to fit in the equation, but I think you have to keep looking to get better at every position, Matt. And I think Henry Parrish is a statement right now in that regard for Mario Cristobal here in the early stages of his time at Miami.
All right, so it's my turn. So you guys out there, I always keep it real. I just share my opinion, whether you like it, you don't like it, you want to beat me up or send me free lunch. That'd be nice to get free lunch if someone wants to send me that. But I did initially, I wasn't thrilled about this because he's very similar to a Jalen Knighton. It's not like he was this amazing running back at Ole Miss. I don't want to be Ole Miss South. I don't want to be Oregon South. I want them to create their own identity, getting South Florida kids or whoever they target here and then develop those kids, not take kids that are from somewhere else that weren't really recruited by Miami, whatever. It's not my cup of tea, but I thought about it some more, and I did go through all the numbers. So Miami definitely needed another running back. Am I allowed to talk, Gary, or what?
I'm just laughing.
Miami definitely needed another running back. And I realized, as I thought more about it, when you have Jalen Knighton coming back, it's very hard to attract the guy that I wish they could get, which would be a power back with breakaway speed who could be an every down player and be the starter over Jalen Knighton, with Jalen Knighton being the third down back. I just think a lot of guys who enter the portal who are outstanding running backs, they're looking for basically a place where they can be the guy for sure, or at least go to a place where the top back just was very successful the year before and has gone to the NFL or whatever. That's not the case at Miami. Miami has some really good young talent. Jalen Knighton had a really good year considering he missed 4 games. Don Chaney coming back, it doesn't take a moron to realize Don Chaney has a ton of ability and was neck and neck with Jalen Knighton in the year that he was healthy, and Don Chaney has more of a power back capability than Jalen Knighton. So it's going to be really hard to attract the kind of guy I want. And the guy in the story we compare both these guys to, Jalen and the new arrival, Mr. Parrish, we compare him to the top statistical back in the ACC, which was the Syracuse running back, Sean Tucker. Sean Taylor is always on my mind. Sean Tucker. So Sean Tucker, just to throw it out there, his grade when he ran the ball per Pro Football Focus was 87%, and he had 4.1 yards after contact. Full-time running back, full-time guy, every down back. Okay, that was his numbers. And when you look at Jalen and Henry Parrish, their numbers were almost identical. They were, I'm trying to find them here. So Knighton was 70.3% running the ball, compared to obviously the number I just said, 87% for the Syracuse guy. And Chaney, by the way, in his full year as a freshman was 71.3 and 69.9 last year. And then I'm trying to find the Parrish numbers weren't very different. Parrish was 72%. Oh, no, that says receiver, sorry. Parrish was, I think it was 74. Yeah, 74. His career offensive grade is 74%, and he's played a couple of years, obviously. And he was fourth on the team in rushing this past season. And then the yards after tackle are just not good, especially for Jalen Knighton. Jalen Knighton forced 32 missed tackles. Parrish forced 23 missed tackles. But Knighton, I think, had 2.1 yards after contact. I think Parrish was around 3. I'm not going to look through the whole story yet. 3.1, I think it was. So there's a big discrepancy there. And to be an elite running back, you want to have the numbers that Tucker put up, and you want a guy who can do that. The reason why I'm okay with Parrish is I think, thinking about it, they weren't going to get a guy that I think could be the guy like that, simply because of the guys coming back. It's just not a real opportunity for a transfer who's a top guy. And then secondarily, I think it's not a bad combination, because I don't want Jalen Knighton to be an every down back, because I think he won't last the season. He's just not built that way. But I think Henry Parrish being in a similar vein, and there's a little clip of one of his touchdown runs, and you can see he's a very quick, smaller back, good receiver, very, similar to Jalen Knighton, not identical, but similar. So I think maybe the two of them combined can combine for 20 to 25 carries a game and 5 to 10 catches a game, and be a full running back package with Don Chaney maybe being the power guy, or Thaddeus Franklin potentially, and just sort of see how that goes. So I don't mind it to win this year. I think it was a good addition. Okay, I'm going to say that. I think it was a good addition for this year. Previously, what I had said on this show, and I still stand by it, is it's not, I know you guys hate hearing the numbers thing, but he's not a guy, Henry Parrish is not a guy you can cut now. It's just not right to do it, because he'll never get picked up by another team.
Cut? They just brought him in to play for a couple of years. He's not getting cut.
A couple of years. He's a redshirt freshman.
The guys that are in danger of getting cut are Cody Brown and Thaddeus Franklin.
Gary, I'm not talking about getting cut. I would bet that those two end up being... I'm not talking about getting cut this year or next year even. When you need a spot on the roster, he won't be available to say, hey, I'm sorry, it's not working out. We just got these two guys in the class. If they get the two guys in the class of 2023 who are studs that they want, this guy, I'm sorry. I'm not an expert, but just watching the high school film on a couple of guys like the Mark Fletcher and Richard Young, those are the guys you want. And if this guy is going to be a fourth string running back or a third string running back in 2 years, you can't say to him, you need to find another opportunity, because he'll have to sit out a year and no one's going to take him. That's the problem I have with sometimes doing this.
You're sitting here already replacing him 2-3 years down the road with kids that are still haven't even played their senior years of high school.
Everyone else who you get is not stuck on the roster. You can take a freshman in this class. He doesn't look like what you thought he should be in a year. You say, sorry, it's not working out. He could find another place to go right away. This kid can't. I think you're stuck with him for 4 years, 3 to 4 years. And with the roster turnover, I think Mario wants to do. That's not great to lose a lot of guys.
Player. He's a good rotation guy.
He's great for this year. I just said he's great for this year. He's great for this year. If they can get the guys in recruiting, I think they're going to get this year, though. He very well could be a fourth teamer next year, and it's very hard to say.
Because Mark Fletcher just walks in the door and takes his spot. Yes. A guy that's already played
next year. I think Mark Fletcher could start from day one. Just like, listen, there have been freshmen and second-year backs who have been excellent at Miami. Frank Gore, his first year, I think averaged 8-9 yards a carry, and he was a backup, but you can't tell me he wouldn't be starting on this team as a freshman. I mean, there's guys out there. It's not like Miami is so laden with talent that a freshman can't walk in the door and be the guy. They need that to happen. That's where this team is with its talent. They need 2023 and 2024 guys to come in, complement the top guys from last year, which there may be 5 of them that are freshmen and redshirt freshmen, and boom, that's your magic formula for success to a national championship run in 4 to 5 years when those guys have reached that level. But you need to be able to replace a lot of this lost baggage. And I'm just hoping Henry Parrish doesn't wind up being that, because you cannot get rid of him. He's going to be here for 3 to 4 years, period. That's just a fact. Unless he goes somehow to the pros. He's that good. It's a fact. You cut him, he's gone. That's the end of his college career.
You worry so much about what's going to be going on in 2024. I mean, 2023, 2024.
You know why, Gary? Because I want them to win a national championship. This year, they're not winning a national championship. I want them to be a national championship team. You just worry about this year. Let's just win this year, not worry about next year. I want to get to the national championship, and I see the roadmap for it with this coaching staff. You got to cut a ton of kids. You got to bring in a ton of talent, and you got to have the flexibility where you can just get rid of kids willy-nilly at that position and not keep third and fourth teamers that you can replace with much better players. That's all. I just want to have the flexibility. Adding him is not flexible. That's a fact.
You'll have it. I'd be more worried right now about like Cody Brown.
He's a guy you can. Yeah,
I mean, there's probably a reasonable chance he's one of your 28 guys. Let's be honest. I mean,
Gary, you do know it's more than 28, right? Because it's not including any transfers. It's not including any numbers over 85 this year, which are going to be over that by 5 or more.
I'm not counting. Keep bringing in good players.
Correct.
The
Which is
numbers
why
are
I
working.
want them to have the flexibility and not have to throw kids to the side that can't find a home. That's the issue right there. That's all.
No, they got to accelerate their graduation. There's a lot of guys that are, third and fourth year guys in the program right now that are never going to play here.
Let me ask you a question. Do you think it's right to tell let's say a redshirt sophomore or a true junior, hey, you're going to be fourth team this year. We need you to leave. We need your spot. When that kid can't find another home because he has to sit out because you took him as a transfer and he can't find another home because he has to sit out the year and no one's going to do that.
Who are they taking as a transfer that you think is going to bust out? Nobody.
Who are they? I'm talking about leaving Miami, not coming into Miami.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Who do you think they've taken as a transfer that has to leave? I can't think of who.
What do you mean who? They just took a bunch.
Hey,
you said Henry Parrish is a rotation guy, right?
100% is going to be a rotation guy.
Okay, so let's say if in 2 years they have
Tim Knighton and Cheney will be the rotation guys.
Gary, let's say in 2 years they have 6 running backs on the roster. They need to take they got an offensive lineman and they want to get that kid and they need the number. Are you okay with basically telling Henry Parrish you got to find another home when you know he can't? That's all I'm asking you. If the answer is
no,
you don't mind that,
and I don't think they'll do that. I think they'll be prepared to have 5 running backs, 6 running backs on the roster. I don't think that's what's going to happen. And if Henry Parrish, you don't like
hypotheticals, do you?
Oh my God, your hypotheticals are based on recruits that are not even here yet.
Because I'm trying to think, why can't you think 3 or 4 years down the road where we're trying to win a national championship? I don't understand why you're so fixated on this year.
Because
why are you so
I think they are trying to win now. You have a franchise quarterback in place right now in Tyler Van Dyke. He earned that. He proved it the second half of the year. You've got a lot of depth and a lot of quality at the skill positions on offense. You have 2 elite offensive line coaches in the building now in Alex Mirabal and Mario Cristobal who are going to make the offensive line better. The offense is built to score points and win now. Okay,
offense is great.
Yeah. Now, what they're going to be able to put together on defense is still a work in progress. No argument whatsoever. But they are not going into the 2022 season thinking, oh, geez, we can't win now. Now, are they going to be ready to play Georgia and Bama? Absolutely not.
Okay, we can't win what now, though? We're trying to win the Coastal, trying to win the ACC?
They're trying to win the ACC next year, okay?
Trying to win the ACC.
I don't think they're going to be harboring any illusions that they're ready to go toe-to-toe with Georgia or Bama.
Correct. So let me ask you this.
And they'll probably get their butt handed to them in College Station on September 17th as well. But they're going to be thinking about winning the ACC.
I understand. That's the goal. Fine. How many years before you think they can say, we think we can legitimately win the national championship? How many years? So I'm thinking 3 years from now.
I think if things go well, yes. But by the time they get to the 2024 season, my bet is Mario Cristobal is hoping to be good enough to play with anybody.
I agree 100%. And that's why I keep looking at 2024 and 2025. People aren't understanding. That's why I keep looking ahead, because I can't wait to get to 2024 and 2025. I don't think they're there now. You don't think they're there now. I don't think anyone thinks they're there now. So the goal for me, you got to win 9 or 10 games this year just to keep recruiting going. I think they do that with or without Henry Parrish, with or without, the Oregon offensive lineman if they wind up getting him, which they probably will. I still think they win that many games. The ACC Coastal's awful. So I still think they win the ACC Coastal. I still think they'll impress recruits enough. I still think they have top recruits with the way they recruit. So that's why I'm looking 3 to 4 years down the road. It's a positive outlook, not a negative outlook. This is a positive outlook. I'm trying to see how they get there. And if, like you said, Mario's not looking at that and is not looking at the numbers right now and looking at, I can cut this kid, I probably can't cut that kid because he won't have anywhere to go, then that doesn't make sense to me. That's all I'm saying.
I think he'll look at the numbers hard once he gets through spring practice and gets a better feel for what's here, what's going to survive, what's not going to survive, who's going to transfer, who's going to be asked to transfer, all those things. Once he gets a handle on all that, then he can sit down with his recruiting people and his football operations people and project out the numbers. That's the way I think it'll be playing out. I think right now they're getting as many good players in the program as they can, whether it ends up being 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. I don't think they're worried about right now. I don't think they're wasting scholarships, but I think they're trying to find as many good players that they can add to this roster right now.
100%. And listen, this is the whole point. They could turn over this entire roster within 2 cycles if they choose to. They can't, under the new rules with the 7 free transfers, they could add 80 players almost in 2 years.
They don't need to. I mean, there's some good young players in the program.
Correct. So they don't need to. But my point is, they can make this roster look however they want, and as long as they keep their flexibility in that regard and not screw local kids by, who may not work out or have them just stuck down the depth chart for no reason. Like, this program in 3 years should be amazing, like as good as anyone in the
most
country.
Kids leaving Miami will be able to find a home somewhere. I mean, look at Nesta Silvera. Okay, yep. I mean, he leaves Miami in disgrace. He was a total attitude problem this year. Didn't really, the new staff came in. They didn't really want him to stay once, and he went and found a home in Arizona State. I mean, and he almost went to Nebraska. And he almost went to Nebraska.
Who's the kid on the roster you think is definitely going to be asked to leave? Just pick a name.
Cody Brown.
Okay, so Cody Brown. So Cody Brown actually did he actually wind up transferring in from somewhere, or did he not?
No, he came as a freshman.
Okay.
He was committed elsewhere.
That's what it was. Okay, so let's say that he was in a situation like an Isaiah Walker, which might be a tricky situation for Isaiah now, right?
Isaiah Walker's another one that I don't think will be here.
Okay, so Isaiah Walker actually enrolled at Florida, transferred to Miami, used the free transfer rule. Now when Miami says to Isaiah Walker, sorry, bud, it's not working out, his college career is done. It's sad for him. He won't get a scholarship to complete his college degree.
He has bigger fish to fry anyway.
And the reason being, it's not that he's not good enough and the program won't take a chance on him. The reason being is, as a second-time transfer, he has to sit out a year on full scholarship somewhere, and someone has to take a chance and say, hey, 2 years from now, maybe he'll be good. Whereas the transfer portal has 1,000 kids in it, plus there's other offensive linemen who are probably pretty similar that you could take and try to play right away. So you're basically saying to Isaiah, because we took you as a transfer, your career's over. Instead of you didn't go to another school first.
His situation has nothing to do with football, Matt. I mean,
that's the problem.
He's got personal issues he's got to work through.
Okay, I'm not talking about the person. I'm talking about as an example aside from his personal issues. I'm talking about this as an example. He's probably going to
need a year to work through those anyway. Happy Thursday, everybody. For Matt Shodell, I'm Gary Ferman. We wish you a great day. We'll see you tomorrow.